Good morning, everybody. Orange J here with another War of the Visions video. And okay, I had a lot I was going to say, and I realized kind of in the middle of that intro that might be the last time I ever say that intro in a video. And I didn't think I would get any sort of emotional. And there was a tiny bit of emotion when I realized that that'd be my last time doing that intro, maybe ever. So that's an introduction that carried me through years of this YouTube channel, making videos that supported my family when baby Jay was born. There's a lot I have to digest here, a lot to kind of pour out into the YouTube sphere, but I do want to start positively. I want to start by saying some things about this game that are good, right? For one, the game changed my life. This YouTube channel doesn't exist without this game. Everybody watching this video that I've, read your comments, interacted with on Discord, hosted a Friday night fights with, there are real friends as much as you can have internet friends, whatever that means in 2025. There are people that I know pretty dang well that this game is the main reason that I know them. And this channel wouldn't exist. This whole experience right now wouldn't exist without War of the Visions. And so for me personally, and the other content creators, especially the ones like the Dr. Diggs of the world, who also supported his family by making War of the Visions content, this game ending is a bit of a sad moment. And I think that's worth mentioning. I also want to mention the reason I'm just going to be full screen most of this time. I'll run some B-roll of some of my old videos here in a second, but I tried to boot the game back up and go in there. And something I won't miss about War of the Visions? I said I was going to, in my mind, I was I'm going to start positive. I got to say this. There's still not a PC client. There's still not one. And when I tried to boot back into the game, guess what I couldn't do? Get in the game. And guess what I didn't feel like doing? Fixing BlueStacks or figuring out what was wrong with the Play Store emulator on PC. Goodness gracious, a PC client is needed for mobile games. I hope another mobile game never makes one and doesn't have a PC client. Boom. Okay, there we go. Now back to the positive stuff. So here we go. First of all, I want to acknowledge the community for this game. I have covered several games. I'm not going to say a lot of games. I've only been around for 4 years or something like that. But there's many games I've covered on this channel. The War of the Visions community is the best one. Now, the Sword of Convalari community, really good too. And notice how they're kind of similar games. And I think there's a similar demographic of people that play those games. But when a new player came to War of the Visions, they always felt welcomed by, myself, the other content creators, the people on Discord, the Reddit. Even with the shortcomings of the doomsaying and all that stuff on Reddit, which, by the way, doomsayers, you're finally right. You've been saying it for 4 years. Today's your day. Rub it in. You called your shot 375 times over the last 4 years. And today, hey, look, you were wrong the first 374, but today you got it. End of service is coming, people. Anyway, for the most part, this community was incredibly welcoming to new players. And even though we had a lot of critiques about the game, I felt like most of those critiques had to do with the money side. And we'll get there in this video here in a little bit. But the gameplay was almost never the problem. There were times where the game was unbalanced, right? Like Starlight Elena, Dwayne, when new systems were added to the game, when trust stones were added to the game, and some people didn't want to deal with that clunky ass system the way it was when it first came out. There were times when the gameplay was unbalanced, but it always kind of worked its way back to a spot, I felt like, where you could enjoy playing this game even if you've only played for 8-9 months. And I say 8-9 months because there was definitely it wasn't the newest player friendly game that ever existed, that's for sure. But once you got into the game, once you could dive in to the tactical side of this, you could go really, really deep. Think about YouTube channels like Ready Player Will, those people who really dedicated themselves to the minute details of this game to try and be the best. That part of the game existed. And even if, myself and a lot of other people didn't always want to dive all the way in there, it was important for this game that existed. And it's one of the few mobile games that I've played that is that deep in combat. You think about a game like Honkai Star Rail, sure, team building is really important there, but you only have 4 units that you're throwing out there. They have 3 moves each. There's only so much you can do there. In this game, you can build teams out of all of these characters. I'm not sure how many of them there are. Now that I'm thinking about that, hey, WoTV people, man, y'all carried this game. Like, people will look at like myself and Diggs and Will and Rindell and Jay Benson and all these content creators and be like, man, you guys were the community, the pillar of this community. The number one pillar of this community was WoTV. And like, to everyone who put any effort into WoTV, y'all carried us. Y'all carry this game hard. As a content creator, it's really hard to make content for games that WoTV doesn't exist for, which is every other game. So my goodness, shout out to you all. But even the like content creator community for this game was really good. We were all nice to each other. Sure, Cabbage and Diggs like fought, you know, because like Diggs kind of hyperbolic, Cabbage is Cabbage, and like while he always came across with that like cool, calm, whatever, he took his shots, and Diggs would rise to the bait, and yeah, that was a thing. But for the most part, we were all really cool with each other, and nobody was ever mean to me. And this is my video, so thank you to all of the content creators in this community, whether it's the big ones that I got to talk to, like ClayQ Zolt or Howls back in the day, or the coming up people, the Merlots, the Diggs, you know, the Ready Player Wills, those of us who like made our channels around this game. It was awesome, and I hope we do a combined live stream or video or something if we can all get our schedules straightened out. Also, Friday Night Fights, man oh man, my favorite part of War of the Visions for myself, like for my content, for what I did, was the Friday Night Fight stuff. And I was oftentimes jealous that I didn't get to play in Friday Night Fights because I tried to design something that I would want to use. But Starlight, Francesca, and all of the, you know, the Mavericks of the world, I like, and here's the part where I'm going to just forget to start shouting people out. I'm going to quit shouting people out. Like, look, y'all know who you are. The Friday Night Fights people, you guys were the best. And like, we had such a great little thing every Friday night for years. And then, you know, life happened and it kind of fell away, and I fell away from the game. But I got to be the official shoutcaster for War of the Visions, and that happened because of Friday Night Fights. And like, I did professional esports shoutcasting because of you all, Friday Night Fights people, who handled the behind the scenes stuff, who made the spreadsheets, who moderated the chat, who refereed it. That was the best, man. I loved Friday Night Fights, and I already do miss that, but now I'll really miss it because I know it's like gone. Man, what else can I say? Oh, here, let me drop my camera for a second. Here is the first YouTube video on my channel that I ever put out, and it got more than 1,000 views. The Adventures of Eileen. If you remember these videos, like, you are one of the OGs, because this is back at a time in this game where Eileen wasn't meta, but she countered the meta, because the whole meta was just Orlando during Final Fantasy Tactics. And my everything came around because I was kind of the one who publicly figured that out, that like, you have this earth unit who's super resistant to slashing damage, and you can play that into the meta and make things happen. And like, these silly little videos that are the Adventures of Eileen, wearing like golden armor and stacking slash resist, which is not something you could do in the current version of the game and have success with. Man, oh man, this made my channel. So if you're an OG enough to remember these videos, man, huge shout out to you, as Victoria gets one shot by a Frederica. But this, in my opinion, was like peak War of the Visions. This was my favorite time to be playing this game because my favorite character was good. And I tried many times the rest of my like War of the Visions career to make Eileen work, and let me just tell you, it was pretty hard. Like, and I never got the like swimsuit Eileen or Christmas Eileen or Valentine's Day Eileen or anything like that, and I would have loved to have had something along those lines as like Engelbert finishes off that fight. So those videos are really nostalgic for me. And then I started being just a more normal content creator, right? Covering patches, doing guides, all of that stuff. So shout out to Eileen for being my girl and starting the Church of Eileen, which is like, I still think the name of my Discord. Anyway, I want to go now. I don't know that I've forgot to mention any of the positive things. I think I've gotten most of the stuff I wanted to say out. In terms of the developers, right? everybody who like worked on this game, I have a more positive view of them than I think a lot of other content creators do. I always gave them credit for doing what I thought was most of the time in the best interest of the gameplay. I always thought it was like the bigwigs who got in the way, right? If we want to start talking about like the downfall of the game, like where it started going bad, everyone I ever talked to that worked on this game was passionate about this game. And I, unlike most people on the internet or most players of this game, had the privilege of talking to these people in person. I talked to them at the Fan Fest in LA. I flew out to Japan and had dinner with Hiroki and the gang, right? Like, I don't know anybody else who got to do that. And whenever we talked about War of the Visions, like, their passion for the game came out. They cared about this game. It was their little baby. And I always felt like there was this like money demon, like whatever that is, the powers that be at the very top, just trying to squeeze more money out of the game. And I always felt like that got in the way of the game developers, and having to balance that had to just be hard. And so I appreciate all the work that everybody who cared about this game really did. And I wish the money people could have just listened to some of us a little bit more. All of the discounted Visior packs, like Pack F, that could have been in the game always. And you would have had a like swarm of minnows who kept coming back into this game and feeling like they could have kept playing. I heard, and I kind of saw this on Ready Player Will's, like, you know, his videos will pop up. I wasn't playing War of the Vision, so I wasn't watching them anymore. But, you know, he went on like a content strike in the game because Pack H went away. I was like, they took Pack H was the thing that people spent on, and they took it out of the game. And I was like, man, like, that's both incredibly stupid and par for the course for making poor financial decisions for a game that's incredibly expensive already. And then it turns out they probably did that because end of service was coming. But that brings me to like the ultimate point I want to make about where I think the development went wrong. Like, because we're at the end of service, so I do want to address where things went wrong. And I think it comes down to communication more than anything else. Barely ever. We got apologies. We would get apologies. Like, people would make choices and then we'd get a producer's letter saying, sorry, blah, 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 blah. How about instead of just having to apologize for things, just being clear up front, sharing a vision for what's happening. When packs and things are getting removed from the shops, it was up to like myself to get on a Wednesday morning and be like, oh, look, the special shop still doesn't have any discounted packs in it. That's disappointing. Trying to be happy and moving on with my video. That was hard. That was hard. It had just been nice to have somebody from the company be like, we're taking this out because of this reason, and we're putting this in 2 weeks to make up for that. Just that level of communication would have created so much goodwill amongst the community. And then just a little bit more listening to the feedback, I think, would have been better as well. Many of the systems in the game, like trust stones and things like that, my God. If you just let some of us like beta test that thing, we'd have been like, don't release it. Don't do it. You need to do all of the changes that it has probably right now, where you can just pick what's on it, release that, and it would have been an A+, because it's accessible power for everybody. But the state it came out in literally made people quit the game. And if clear communication between the players, the content creators, the community leaders, how about I just say that, and the development team could have saved a lot of headache and maybe prolonged the life of this game. Now, all that being said, this game ran for 5 years in global. It made a lot of money. It was a success. I don't regret a single dollar that I spent on this game. I've seen the comments, the posts, the Reddit threads, the things that are saying, I regret ever giving these people any money, blah, 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 blah. Look, I mean, like, I guess my response to that is, like, if you played a gacha game, spent money on it, and then regret spending that money because the game's going end of service, are you new? Like, is this like I felt like most people who played this game were like adults, like my age. Like, this is like, these games end. And so, like, if you had fun, if the money, now look, some people, I understand that these games are predatory. I'll use that word, right? The gacha industry is predatory, sort of like gambling is predatory, sort of like anything that you have to use your own self-control to regulate yourself is predatory. So in that way, the entire capitalist system is predatory, and maybe gacha games are one of the worst parts of it. Sure. And we've had our conversations about that. Still, like, I think that I got value out of the money I put into this game. And I don't mean that in terms of like because I was able to make content. I mean, I spent thousands of hours in War of the Visions having fun, and I don't regret that at all. It's my most played video game of all time. And so there it is. There it is. Let's see. Anything else that I want to say? Anything else I want to mention before I kind of wrap this up? You guys, let's mention you guys. For everybody who only watched my channel for War of the Visions, thank you. Thank you. Like, this was my biggest game ever. Obviously, right? Most videos I ever made is War of the Visions. You guys are the backbone of my channel. And maybe one of my proudest moments as a content creator is I didn't become a a one game wonder. I'm not a single game Andy, where War of the Visions closing is going to destroy my channel. I feel like so many of you that started with War of the Visions now stay for myself and this community that we have. And thank you to it. Even if you're never watching another one of my videos, if this is the last video of mine you ever watch, thank you for like that. And my own little personal community, you guys are the best, man. Like, I know we're not, tectone levels of big or something like that, but I feel like we got a lot of people in here who are very level-headed, reasonable, nice people. And we have lives outside of gaming, and we just come here for a nice, chill, happy time. We have that time. And if you want to join my, if you want to stay with this channel, man, Sword of Convallaria scratches that War of the Vision itch for me. This is the part where I say this video is sponsored by Sword of, nope. It's not. I'm just saying, like, that's the game I'm playing right now. It's a tactical game. It's very much Final Fantasy Tactics-ish. So if that's the game that got you into War of the Visions, that's a place where you can still exist with our community. And let's just hope, I know I'm hoping anyway, that the Final Fantasy Brave Exvius universe is not dead and gone. I want to play Eileen. I want to play Rain. I want to play Laswell, Mont, Stern, all of these characters from FFBE and War of the Visions that I got to know through War of the Visions. I want to play them again in a next generation mobile game. I want it to be a gacha game, and maybe I'm stupid for that. Maybe I've just accepted the fact that that's what this universe is based off of. But man, oh man, can't wait for that to happen. And there are a lot of fans out there, developers like Square Enix. Make it happen, guys. We'll like the Church of Eileen will show up. So that's it, y'all. Thank you guys for watching. Probably my last War of the Visions video, and I will hopefully catch y'all in a different game. All right, peace.